For people over 60, this video may be a real eye-opener. Your generation has seen a lot, highs and lows. Yet there is one problem no one prepares you for: how to protect your brain from stroke, which becomes more likely with age. As a neurologist with 30 years of experience, I am convinced that outwardly healthy people can suddenly face loss of speech, mobility, even the inability to recognize loved ones. And all of this because of a number of seemingly harmless morning habits. A publication in The Lancet Neurology claims that more than 70% of strokes in older adults could be prevented through simple changes in daily actions, especially in the morning hours when the brain is particularly sensitive. Over the years of my practice, I have come to believe that stroke is not a random tragedy, but the result of countless small decisions we make every day, especially in the first minutes after waking. In today's video, I will tell you about 7 habits, from the least harmful to the most dangerous. Each has a scientific basis and practical tips you can put into practice as soon as tomorrow. But before we begin, share your age and city in the comments. This will help us understand how wide an audience this video reaches and whose lives it may affect. Let's start with the 7th habit: drinking a lot of coffee on an empty stomach. For many retirees, the day begins with the thought of a cup of coffee, as if the aromatic drink were the key that starts their routine. Few realize that this habit, if coffee is drunk on an empty stomach, can turn into a serious problem for the brain. Coffee without prior food intake provokes a sharp surge of adrenaline, leading to a faster heartbeat, vasoconstriction, and a sudden rise in blood pressure, especially in people with hypertension or circulatory problems. Imagine this effect hitting the brain in the early morning hours when the body is just waking up. At this time, blood circulates less efficiently, and the likelihood of impaired cerebral blood flow quietly rises. A study published in the Journal of Cerebral Blood Flow and Metabolism states that excessive caffeine intake, especially on an empty stomach, can temporarily restrict blood supply to critical brain regions. You don't have to eliminate coffee entirely, but you should integrate it wisely into your morning routine. Start the morning with a glass of water at room temperature. This helps restore fluid balance and stimulate circulation. Then have a light breakfast, a piece of fruit, a slice of whole grain bread, or steamed eggs. Only after your stomach is prepared for richer food should you drink a small amount of coffee without sugar, cream, or other unnecessary additives, so as not to harm the body. Remember, coffee should not be the first thing you consume in the morning. At that moment, your brain needs water, food, and calm. The 6th habit is ignoring dizziness or weakness upon waking. Many think that mild dizziness or numbness in the legs is normal after a certain age. In reality, these sensations can be the brain's first, almost imperceptible signal that it needs help. They are not merely signs of fatigue or a sleepless night. Such symptoms may indicate a brief reduction in cerebral blood flow that, if ignored, can lead to serious complications. In the morning, the body passes through one of its most vulnerable transitions, from sleep to wakefulness. During this period, when circulation is unsettled, the brain is the first to suffer from insufficient blood supply. In older age, many people experience short episodes of imbalance, limb weakness, slurred speech, or unusual facial sensations. These are called transient ischemic attacks, or mini-strokes. They last only minutes, but clearly signal the possibility of a full-blown stroke. Analyzing data from more than 2,000 patients, researchers at the University of Otanger in the United Kingdom made an important discovery. Stroke symptoms often appear in the morning and often go unnoticed, mistaken for ordinary tiredness. Do not ignore signs such as sudden dizziness when standing, weakness in one limb, sudden clumsiness in speech, or difficulty forming thoughts, or numbness or tingling on one side of the face. If you notice such symptoms, write them down with the exact time and date and watch to see if they recur over the next few days. Be sure to discuss them with your doctor as soon as possible. Our brain speaks to us softly at first, in a whisper, before it starts to shout. Those who learn to hear this quiet voice can often prevent disasters that were entirely predictable. The 5th habit is getting out of bed abruptly. You open your eyes, and without thinking, Immediately sit up and stand to start an active day. This seemingly harmless action can be one of the most dangerous morning mistakes for people over 60. During sleep, the body enters deep rest. Circulation slows, blood pressure drops, and the brain shifts to minimal energy consumption. Leaping up suddenly from this state means forcing the body from one physiological mode to another, which can have negative consequences. Such a rapid transition provokes a brief drop in blood pressure known as orthostatic hypotension. This reduction in blood flow to the brain can lead to dizziness, blurred vision, fainting, and, in severe cases, sudden disturbances in cerebral circulation. This is not just speculation, but a real threat confirmed by a study from Yale University in the United States. Observing more than 5,000 older people, scientists found that sharp blood pressure swings when rising from bed increased the risk of serious brain complications in the following years by 40%. With age, arteries lose elasticity and adapt more slowly to changes in body position. As a result, when you get up abruptly, the brain may go without sufficient blood for a short time, which over time manifests in various sensations. A simple, effective way to avoid this is to lie for another minute after waking while breathing deeply. Then, after sitting on the edge of the bed, wait a few more seconds before calmly standing and starting the day. A brief pause, even just a couple of minutes, can benefit not only your brain, but your overall well-being and balance. 2 minutes of mindful transition can grant you many years of clarity and robust health. The fourth habit is delaying urination after waking. It may seem trivial, but how you respond to the first urge to urinate in the morning can significantly affect cognitive health. For many, the routine goes like this: wake up, pick up the phone, linger in bed, drink coffee, and only then go to the bathroom. What happens in your body at this moment has far more serious consequences than it seems. Prolonged holding stretches the bladder, which in turn triggers stress mechanisms. This stimulates the release of adrenaline and cortisol, two hormones that raise blood pressure, constrict blood vessels, and can worsen cerebral circulation, especially in people with stiffened arteries or a history of hypertension. Researchers at Osaka University Medical School in Japan found that older adults with chronically overloaded bladders show significant changes in cerebral blood flow and a higher rate of silent microinjuries to the brain. These microinjuries are small areas that stop receiving blood for seconds or minutes. Over time, they accumulate and can lead to a full stroke. That is why this seemingly harmless habit must change. The recommendation is unequivocal. If you wake with the urge to urinate, go to the bathroom immediately. No checking notifications, no delay. Your brain is more important than anything else. This is one of those cases when the body is not inconveniencing you. It is being wise, sending a signal. You decide whether to heed it. Habit number 3 is skipping morning hydration. Few people realize what actually happens to the body after 7 or 8 hours of sleep. During that time, you breathe, you sweat, you lose fluid, but you don't take in a drop of water. The result: your brain wakes up dehydrated. This is not a metaphor. Science confirms that the human brain is more than 75% water. Even mild dehydration can already impair cerebral circulation, raise blood pressure, and thicken the blood. All of this occurs in the first hours of the morning, most critical for people over 60. Many older adults wake and reach immediately for coffee or tea without giving the body what it needs most: water. Researchers at Maastricht University in the Netherlands followed more than 1,200 patients with mild ischemic events for 90 days afterward. The results were unambiguous. Those who woke with moderate dehydration recovered 4 times more slowly, had a higher risk of lasting effects, and showed worse cognitive scores than patients who received adequate hydration. This happens because thickened blood circulates poorly, and the brain, a highly irrigation-dependent organ, is among the first to suffer. The bad news is that you may not feel thirsty, but that doesn't mean you are hydrated. The solution is simple, effective, and powerful. Immediately after waking, drink a large glass of water at room temperature, before coffee, before the phone, before anything else. This habit improves cerebral blood flow, regulates pressure, and prepares the body to work with greater clarity and energy. If you want to protect your mind, start with the basics. Give your brain water first. Habit number 2 is a salty breakfast. You may think you eat breakfast properly, but the truth is that most older people start the day by undermining their cerebral circulation without realizing it. Commercial baked goods, processed cheeses, sausages, ready-made whole grain cereals, and even those packet oatmeal mixes contain large amounts of hidden salt. The problem is compounded because blood pressure naturally rises in the morning. Now picture this: pressure already elevated, arteries stiffening with age, and on top of that a salty breakfast. This combination creates ideal conditions for a stroke. A study at the Medical University of Warsaw in Poland tracked the diets of more than 4,700 adults aged 60 to 80 and concluded that consuming more than 1,000 milligrams of sodium in the morning nearly triples the risk of stroke over the following weeks, especially in people with mild or hidden hypertension. What does this mean? That even one salty breakfast can completely destabilize brain health. We're not talking extremes. Just 2 slices of ordinary bread with cheese already exceed that limit. Add coffee with sugar, industrial margarine, and some cookies, and the risk multiplies. The brain pays the price. If you want to protect your brain, take a different path. Replace processed foods with natural ones. Eat fresh fruit, boiled eggs without salt, plain oatmeal, or truly whole grain bread. Drink water in the morning and keep salt as far away as possible from the first hours of the day. Salt attacks not only the heart, it also squeezes the brain's vessels and can be a silent trigger for the next strike. Habit number 1 is forgetting or incorrectly taking morning medications. The most dangerous and also the most common mistake. Millions of people over 60 wake up each day and simply forget to take the medications that protect the heart, blood pressure, and cerebral circulation. Others take them at the wrong time. Some take them with coffee on an empty stomach or even swallow them dry without water, as if performing a mechanical ritual without grasping the consequences. And there are those who, having missed one dose, double the next, thinking this compensates for the error. It doesn't. It makes it worse. The result is that the body loses the protective rhythm those drugs are meant to provide, and the brain is placed in real danger. In the first hours of the morning, blood pressure naturally rises. This is the most critical moment for those who depend on medications such as antihypertensives, anticoagulants, statins, or vasodilators. If you make a mistake at this time, you open the door to a full-blown stroke. Researchers from the University of Toronto in Canada observed 3,600 older adults with hypertension and arrhythmia and found that those who made errors with morning medications had a 3 times higher risk of stroke over the next 6 months, even if their symptoms seemed under control. The scariest part is that many of these patients believe they were doing everything right. So here are clear recommendations. Never change your dose on your own. Use weekly pill organizers, phone alarms, or bright labels on bottles. Always take medications with water. Never take them with coffee or on a completely empty stomach unless your doctor specifically directs you to do so. If your medication protects your brain, it is not a small matter. It is a priority. You wouldn't leave home with the door unlocked. So why leave your brain unprotected every morning? In conclusion, now you know that stroke is not an accident. It is formed day by day through seemingly small habits, especially in the first hours after waking. Correcting these 7 mistakes can be the difference between a clear, independent life and a future full of limitations, pain, and regret. And perhaps you don't need these changes right now, but someone in your family, a friend, or a neighbor may be on the brink and not even know it. So if this video warned you or gave you important information, like it right now and share it with as many people you love as possible. This simple gesture can save lives. And in the comments, write the phrase, "My brain is gold." That way I'll know you watched to the end and grasp the value of every morning choice. See you in the next episode. Take care of your mind. It is what makes you fully alive.